reality podcast with Michael and Teresa. Today we are talking Survivor US Season 47, the final episode. For anyone who hasn't watched the show, there are massive spoilers ahead. In today's episode, Sue makes an about face and comes clean about her edge. The fire challenge, who will bring the heat and who will get snuffed. Final tribal, who will be pitch perfect. If you've missed the episode, you can catch all the action on your local streaming services. Survivor US Season 47 final episode breakdown coming up. Hello, Michael.
Hey.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a different look today. I mean, what we both do,
What do
I
you
guess.
mean? This is my normal look. Okay, this is my tribute to Soul.
I think
This
we
is
know.
my homage to Soul. I
Yeah?
love your drip. I love your fit. I gotta say, it's so awkward because you feel cold because of the vest, and then you're hot because of the scarf. I don't know how I should be feeling about this. I cannot. My body temperature cannot get right. And honey, what are you wearing? What's this?
I think this is my tribute to Teeny. I've really liked Teeny ever since like the first episode. I think she's amazing. I am
raiding my cupboard. That's
I-
my shirt.
That's your shirt.
That's my polo.
That is. Well, I'm always wearing your t-shirts
Yeah,
anyway, so
that's-
this is, like this is just for the camera. I mean,
That's for Teeny.
Yeah, that's for Teeny.
So-
I think she did a great job. I love how articulate and emotionally aware she is, and I'm happy to see her in the final four.
Yeah, and I also am proud to pay respects to Soul, my favorite player of this season.
I would never forget that. I've never seen
this
you
is-
wear this in all of our
And now it's gonna be
decades together.
This is awkward as hell, Soul. Big respect for pulling it off. So let's talk about the finale.
Yeah. How exciting was
It's
that?
all over. Congratulations to Rachel. Well done.
Yeah, and also like a big shout out to Sam, Sue, and Teeny for making it far, because we know it's not easy to survive. Like, you're hungry all the time,
Yeah.
you're tired.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
The whole season was pretty good.
Yeah, it's great.
It was an entertaining season. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I did.
I was satisfied with the ending. So we're gonna break it down. I mean, as soon as we get into the show, we see Jeff pretty much framing the episode and talking about how dominant Rachel's been, and he pretty much introduced the show like he did last episode, and he goes, "Oh yeah, Sue, loyal, Sam, scrappy, Rachel, the most dominant game ever, 4 straight record immunity challenges, idols, advantages," and like clearly setting up a Rachel win. I felt.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm still not used to him presenting the show, I think. I feel like it kind of like takes away maybe the reality aspect of it. It makes it feel a little bit more staged. I don't think it's necessary, because I think anyone who's watched Survivor, you know what's going to happen. I mean, this is the final episode. I mean, you don't just suddenly watch the final episode without going through the whole season.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessary. But look, I think like Jeff, I think he likes to try new things. Like this is his 47th season. There's 48 coming. I think he's just, he likes to social experiment, and this is all his big project in the game of life.
Yeah, true. And so we pick up on the beach, and they are celebrating making it to the final 4. We see the world's biggest crab ever. How it survived without getting eaten, I'll never know. But we see, Rachel looking self-satisfied, kinda. Teeny being like, I got this.
Yeah, Genevieve
Sue-
has just been voted out.
Yeah.
She is super happy. I think finally it's like, oh my god, my
beaten her
frenemy, she's
nemesis.
gone.
Sue is like, oh, I'm so pumped, I'm so proud. Everyone's looking very proud of themselves, but I get the sense that Sam knows that there is still work to be done. Like, I feel like Sue and Teeny felt like they had done it.
They're done.
They
They're
crossed the finish
Yeah.
line. But I could see on Sam's face this, yeah, you can get to the end, but it doesn't mean anything if you haven't got a resume. And I feel like he could, on his face, there was still a sense of work being done.
Well, in that case, do you think it's because for him, he wants to win? But maybe whereas say like for Teeny and for Sue, like just getting to the final four is enough. Maybe that's their end, their end goal.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they know that like, okay, we're never going to win against Rachel.
Yeah, maybe.
know?
Just getting there is an achievement enough. And surviving and making it to the end.
I mean, like Sue is 59.
Yeah, true that. Not that anyone else knows that. But, true. Yeah, maybe. I guess for me, I was like, why are they so self-satisfied? Like, you can get to the end, but you haven't achieved anything. For me, I felt very dissatisfied with Sue's game in particular because I felt like she hadn't made any moves and she had a lot of advantages and powers. She had a lot of opportunities to really put her imprint on the game. And I just didn't get the sense of intentionality or agency from her. Rather than I just felt like she was just a goat. And I was disappointed that no move was made. And then to see her like, yay, I did it. I just found a bit of a disconnect there.
Yeah, it doesn't feel satisfying.
It didn't feel satisfying, so in terms of a final four, I think it's a 2-horse race.
Yeah. One horse probably a little bit closer
One
than
horse,
the other.
a little bit closer than the other.
I mean, it really depends on like how Sam fares in the
Challenge.
the final challenge,
And,
which I do actually feel like I think if he had won that final challenge, I think it would have been actually quite close.
Yes. And so we get to the final challenge, and my goodness, the scale of it.
Yeah, so there's like 4 or 5 different parts. You know, it goes through like the mud. You have to toss a ball over, a little loop. You have to. There's like 2 different puzzles.
2 different puzzles.
Yeah.
It's a massive scale. Like here in Australian Survivor, what we're used to is
you stand on like
a log
for like 10 hours.
and Jonathan says, "Okay, I'll come back in 15 hours. Whoever's still here goes through to the final." Like super low budget on Australian Survivor compared to this. Okay, we are used to low tech.
Yeah.
It's literally 2 guys on a log. And then to see this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Hollywood.
I have to say, I'm like, I really like the challenges. I wish that, I could like just go and play just because I like playing obstacles so much, and I know you do as well.
I love it.
How did you feel? Because I was a little bit surprised that I didn't actually get to see any of their family members come onto the show, and I felt like that was always a very big moment in Australian Survivor.
I love that moment.
Yeah.
I think it's a really satisfying, gratifying, humanizing moment where you get to see their families, you get to see them run around and bring out your wife and your your dog. I love that moment because you get to see who they really are as people by the people that they love. And I think it's an emotional moment, a connective moment, a humanizing moment. And we didn't get that. And
we didn't get that. I really would have liked to see, their family members cheer them on, talk about them, as like in real life, see some tears coming down, people getting touched. I mean, I feel like that's what makes Survivor great.
And you don't really know someone until you see their family members, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I wonder what Sam's brother looks like. Is he handsome like
his
Sam?
fiance.
Or his fiance? Is she like Sierra?
She looked like Sierra.
Would that be weird if she looks like Sierra? Like, what does Teeny's family look like? What does Rachel's husband? Is he...
Yeah,
I just want to know more about them.
Yeah, imagine if like Sue had her grandson, who's 5 years old, come onto the show. Like,
great.
How cute would that be?
That would have been great.
I know.
And so we get to the challenge, and it's a massive challenge. They're doing a code thing, and Sam, this was your challenge to win, bruh. I felt so annoyed a little bit that he didn't win it because I felt like this was his moment to finally, for someone who's who has been the only man, let's face it, left for the last few episodes.
And I think there is an expectation there when you're like the guy out of like 3 girls, you're like the tallest, the biggest, the strongest.
He's a jock. He's a sports commentator. Like you can see the physical advantages he has.
Yeah. Just
with putting the ball into that hoop thing. The dude can just put it the way I put sugar onto the fridge, and yet he's struggling with it. Whereas Teeny, it's like she has to shoot a 3-pointer with this thing. It's 8 feet in the air. She has to launch it up, and she still beats him.
Yeah.
And so for him to lose when he has so many glaring physical advantages, he calls himself scrappy. I say it's a little crappy. I'm a bit disappointed. I think he needed this for his resume.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be bad at physical challenges when you're not a physical threat like Andy.
Yeah, so, and I think if Andy had caught himself scrappy, we would be like, okay, that's a perfect fit, I felt,
But when you have these physical advantages and you still can't win, like this guy, I'm like, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
This is why guys enter into female sports. Like, dude, come on, man. Sorry, is that bad?
Can we say that
I
on camera? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so it's quite a tight race between Sam and Rachel. I mean, I have to say, I think I was rooting for Sam. I kind of always root for like the underdog.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I think Rachel, she had a lot of advantages. She had idols. You know, she was at the bottom, but I think she also had quite a lot of like immunity, things come her way.
Yeah.
And I felt like, okay, Sam is obviously the underdog here. I was really rooting for him to win, and he actually came really close. There was a time when he was actually, I think he was very slow on like the ball toss, but then he fumbled that unlock thing very quickly, and then he's, I think it was just, and he was the first one on the puzzles, but he just couldn't figure out those colors and blocks.
Oh, yeah. And I think he needed it for his resume to make things a little bit closer and more interesting in the finale, because otherwise I felt like this was a Rachel runaway train.
Yeah, so like he really needed, like when it just counted the most, I did it, yeah.
So imagine if he won, right?
Okay.
And maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but just say he wins, right?
Who do you think he would have
taken? So he would probably take Teeny.
I think he would have taken
Teeny.
And
then he'd maybe pit Sue
against Rachel
in fire.
Because they're both quite good, apparently.
And hope Sue, because Sue, judging by the soot on her face, knows how to make a fire.
Yeah.
And that could have just changed the whole game.
It could have, yeah. Definitely.
He could have won. That's the path that he needed to win.
Yeah. Well, do you think, say if Rachel had won, if it was like, say, he had won final immunity, Rachel beat Sue in the fire. So it was like him, Teeny, and Rachel. Do you think he could have still beat Rachel? With like one immunity?
I think he gets maybe another vote or two. Maybe just one more vote.
Yeah, because he was very good at the final. We're jumping a little bit ahead, but his performance actually at final tribal was incredible. Yeah. I did not expect that.
Okay, we'll get to that. But
we'll get to that.
Rachel wins a record time, 4th immunity challenge, and I don't mean to be critical of anybody, but it has to be said. Okay, they're comparing her to Kelly and all these amazing physical specimens of the past. Okay, and I think the casting of the show has changed so much where it's become more Survivor superfan rather than casting from all across demographics. Let's face it, okay, pre-Survivor 40, they used to basically cast hunks and babes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so you look at the physical specimens that have won the records, they are freaking Gal Gadot.
Yeah. They look like Wonder Woman, yeah.
Okay, they are physical. They're all 6 foot, former Olympic looking people.
Amazonian looking, yeah.
They are just ripped to shreds before they get to the beach. I think Rachel, as admirable as she has been, has had a much easier path to win immunity challenges athletically.
I think
because
so.
Maybe the cast of this show, I mean, there are a bunch of graphic designers and lawyers and writers and IT specialists.
Yeah.
These are not former Olympians or professional athletes like we've seen in the past, okay?
Yeah.
So, full credit to Rachel, but I think there's a little bit of an asterisk in this isn't the most athletic cast.
Well, in that case then, how would you feel like, say, because Kyle has won a lot of immunity challenges, I think he also peaked at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how would you say, like, in terms of like his physicality compared to like, say, how do you think he would have gone if there was like, say, maybe more people
that's the thing, like, see,
who are more fit physically?
I think it goes to show how weak the cast is athletically that you have 2 record breakers in the same season.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle and Rachel both able to win 4 in the same season. That never happens. Okay, normally you have one dominant physical person per season, and only then are they only even able to win 4 or 5. You know what I mean? Like an Aussie or so on. I think Kyle will go down as a very good No, Kyle's good.
He's very good.
He's
yeah,
good.
I have to say, yeah.
I think Kyle would be good enough to compete in any season athletically.
Yeah, but I think it probably would still, like, maybe, like, if he had, like, stronger competition, maybe he might have won 2.
Yeah.
You know, but there might have been more of, like, a competition. But still, I know, like we said, I think I felt as well, like, this year, there wasn't a lot of, very...
Yeah.
I think, athletically, like, you know, like inclined people. Yeah.
I mean, on Australian Survivor, I don't know if you guys watch Australian Survivor, these guys are like former NFL players, former Olympians.
They are intimidating.
They are physically impressive.
Yeah.
You know, it's like multiple gold medalists, and that's an average season. We are used to seeing specimens.
They're all like Chris Hemsworth, you know, like they're all like Thor looking.
It's like basically going down to Bondi Beach, you know what I mean? Everyone there's athletic, you know, so I just felt like it's the difference between walking through Surrey Hills and walking through Bondi, okay? But nevertheless, well
so
done
like
to Rachel.
a big fish in a little pond kind of thing. Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
so-
Well, but to be honest, like, congratulations, Rachel. I think you did amazing. You won all the immunity challenges where it really mattered. You know, like she won the one against Jennifer. No, I'm not. So again, we're not taking anything from Rachel
against your competition.
Yeah, you can.
It's
like,
not
you
her
know,
fault.
yeah,
There's
it's
no...
not. Yeah, it's not. You know, and she did amazing. Like, you know, so credit must be given to her. She won against like Genevieve when she had to.
Yeah.
She won the final immunity. Like, it is still an outstanding achievement.
Outstanding. Okay, so then we have Rachel's choice, hun.
Okay.
On the beach.
Yeah.
And
she picks Sue.
She picks Sue, and she says
Sue has been the most loyal.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think she picked Sue because Sue's a goat, and she wants to knock. Okay, she picked Sue, and I think that's a fair choice loyalty. But I think she should have picked Sam to go against Sue.
Yeah,
because I think Sue would have been a better tactical move to knock out Sam. And what I tell Sue is, so that Sue doesn't get pissed off, is if I'm Rachel, I say, hey Sue, resume's a little thin. If you want this job, it wouldn't hurt if you had a couple of KOs on your record. And knocking out Sam in fire would get you that. Sue, what do you think? And Sue goes, yeah, okay, I'm not afraid of Sam in fire. I'll take him on. I think that's the way Rachel could have done that while still not upsetting Sue.
Yeah,
and that's the move I expected her to make.
Yeah, that's true. Although maybe, well, in that case, maybe, do you think maybe Sue might have just gone to Rachel? It's like, hey, I've actually been the most loyal to you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I would like to be taken to the final 2. It's my birthday tomorrow, which, you know.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't argue with that. I feel.
Yeah, true.
You know, yeah.
I mean, obviously, she didn't make the wrong decision.
No, she didn't. To be honest, I think it's the right decision. I think okay, like if I was a girl and if I know that someone else's birthday was tomorrow, it would put a lot of pressure, I think, on me to be like, okay, I really don't want to spoil that day. It means a big deal for them to be in the final. You know, they have a grandson who's 5 years old. And also, I think with women, it's not like, I think maybe like, say, if it was Andy, she could have told that to Andy. But it's very different for like a woman to tell another woman, you know,
take on Sam in a physical
it's a bit different. I think you have to navigate it a little bit more gently.
And I think maybe also like she's playing to the jury, maybe even a little bit like, look at how I look after my alliance members, right? This is how I treat my people. Sue was good to me, I'm good to her. Don't forget that part of my game. So yeah, okay. Okay.
I know. I do think it could have worked both ways, because it would have been great if, like, say, Sam went up against Sue. Yeah. You know, like, I mean,
I think Sue beat Sam.
Yeah.
In fire.
I think so. I mean, because there was a point in fire where Teeny was like, "What do I do?
What do I do?" That's Teeny's quote for the season. What do I do?
Okay, and then wait, hold on. Wait, we have to just stop right there, because I need to talk about Teeny's reaction when she and Sam got picked. Okay. So Sam, I think he went.
Let's reenact it. Okay, I'll be Sam. Okay. So you want to send me to fire, hey?
What does she say? I think she says.
She says, "Fuck you." Okay, I'll be. Let's do this again. Take 2. Okay, I'm Sam.
Okay, I know you're Sam.
Okay, so you want to send me to fire, hey? That's okay with me. I'm down.
Oh, fuck you. I don't want to say it on camera.
Fuck me.
I know.
Why did you say that for?
I know. I think we were both very taken
I
aback.
couldn't believe it. I was just like to say F you to someone is...
Okay, I mean,
that's
we've
a conversation
said it before
ender.
in an argument.
That's
It's like when we're like really, really heated up.
That's level 9.
That's level 9 in
That's
an
level
argument.
9, not level 3. When you're sitting there in the water,
After you have just been to like Final 4 as well, yeah.
And she just goes, F you, Sam. Stop being so arrogant. Okay, is Sam being arrogant here?
I don't think he was actually being arrogant deliberately. I
he's
think
just being
it's just.
playful.
I think he's being. Yeah, I feel like it's being playful, but I feel like it can be misconstrued if you're already feeling insecure about yourself as like, oh, this is like a taunt.
Look, I think no matter what Sam does, he could do nothing wrong and Teeny would still see it as a taunt. Because as we see later in the episode, Sam just represents all the things that she wants to be and also at the same time resents. That's jealousy, right? Love and hate at the same time.
Well, I think it's funny because at first she was like, oh, it's all the things that, I really don't like. It's just not Teeny. But then you actually realize, well, I mean, she's self enough to realize like, oh, it's actually all the things that I actually want to be.
So it's amazing because at once she shows such a lack of awareness and then she's able to turn it around and become incredibly self-aware moments later, which is what I love about Teeny.
Yeah, I mean, and don't forget, she's only like 23. She's like the youngest person in the group. Like, and she's actually able to be like so self-aware. Sam is 24. I know, I was a bit shocked because he actually seems older.
Yeah.
But she's actually able to like articulate her emotions so well. And come on, we've all been 23. 23 is a really hard age to be in. I mean, and I think she's also going through like a lot of like an identity kind of like crisis, like change. Like that would be really hard. I mean, so I do have a lot of compassion for her. I feel like maybe she's just a little bit young for this game at the moment. When you're playing against 30 plus people, there's a huge gap in maturity. And I feel like given a few more years,
people mature at different paces.
And
I think
she will be amazing.
I think she has showed that maturity gap maybe emotionally and strategically. I think she's always found herself a little bit behind the group in terms of maturity and gameplay. Found herself tricked, deceived, just a little bit behind. Processing things. And here I feel like the emotion of it is just getting to her. She just doesn't like Sam and what he represents, but she shows the grace and wherewithal later on to sort of apologize and say it's me, not you. Which I really appreciate.
I do appreciate that. Like, come on, we all get like hangry, we all get like upset, And I know it's hard to like show that on camera because you really get criticized for it. So I can imagine like how she must feel right now, like, having probably quite a lot of like online criticism come out.
Be
because
nice
it's
to
easy.
Teeny, guys.
Yeah, because it's easy to be like, oh hey, like, oh my god, like she effed up there,
I've seen a lot of people online dissing Teeny, saying she's the least aware player ever. Be nice, guys. When you were at 23, you were probably not very aware too. Me at 23 on that island, I would be just scratching my coconuts, figuring out, like, I'd be arrested. Okay, let's face it. For wearing this vest. Okay, so now we find out that Teeny
and Sam have
not practiced to make fire.
Okay.
What the frick?
Okay, how do we feel about that? Because I think I was incredulous when I first heard it. Because I was like, okay, if I am going on to Survivor, okay, what's the first thing we would do? We
would
fire. Learn to make fire, or we'll go for like a lot of runs and workouts.
I'd get a 3D printer. I'd make puzzles. I'd be doing puzzles. I'd be like doing yoga. I'd be balancing on...
You'll be practicing your shooting.
I'd be balancing on little beams in the afternoon. I would be standing on things on my toes. You'd be practicing.
Yeah,
this
like how to make a tent, everything. Yeah.
And on the island, making fire is a fundamental... It's not like you didn't know this was coming.
Yeah.
Final 4 is always fire. It's a fundamental part of the game.
And also, I think like going into Survivor, you want to have made fire as part of the challenge. It's like Caroline eating those fish eye with like, gusto. It's the experience. Like, why go to Survivor if you don't want to make fire?
To have not made fire or not know how to make fire after being a so-called super fan, I'm incredulous. Like, it's make fire, cut coconuts,
climb a tree,
catch fish.
Yeah, catch fish. Yeah.
Like,
we'll have to learn to catch
those are 3
fish.
things surely you know how to do as a Survivor fan. But
Yeah.
is he putting it on?
Okay, so this is where I think at first I was like incredulous. I was like, how could he have not? Like, how stupid can he be? But then after that, he pulls out the letter after Teeny had just made fire.
This was so
And then he was
cheesy.
like just reading about it. And that's when I kind of feel like, is it stage?
Yeah, I think so. I think he Sam has this thing where he's quite theatrical.
Oh yeah,
And-
yeah, he does
and-
theatre, yes.
And he understands the theatre of the moment.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of it was a little contrived. Like he can cry at will, firstly, when he talks. Or at least he cries a lot.
Oh yeah.
And he just is like to put out a letter in front of all the other guys while there's a fire and to read it and to wipe a tear away as you're reading about your dad. And you know what? I'm not going to quit. This is for you, Dad. It just seemed a little staged and contrived. And to be honest, it's good storytelling.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, had he just gone, you know what? Yeah, fire. I'm good at that. I'll see you tonight.
Yeah, there just wouldn't have been a drama point,
Wouldn't
you
have
know.
been no drama.
Yeah, there would
So-
be like no controversy for us to talk about. You know, and in
So,
the end we have to remember Survivor is a show.
It's
You
a-
know, they have to create drama points. The players know that, you know, so yeah.
And so we get to the fire challenge, and well, this is probably as exciting a fire challenge as you could possibly hope for.
Okay, so what happens? So I think we find out that okay, so Teeny starts making the fire first. She was the first one to get a fire going, and it was a really good fire. It was very big, very tall. It actually looked like it was actually about to burn the rope quite a couple of times. But
Yeah.
then Sam just came up from behind and just kind of like overtook her. Well, to be honest,
Incredible.
both their flames were very big, but Teeny, her flame started to shift according to the wind.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's where, she could have actually maybe stood up and just
Shielded it,
shielded against the wind.
Yeah, her lack of experience with fire management sort of showed. You need to know how to not just make the fire, but curate it, right? And we've seen that as Survivor superfans. You got to sort of shield it from the wind, blow it, feed it oxygen.
Yeah.
How funny were Caroline and Andy's reactions?
It's like, oh, sorry, we're actually next to each other in case it was like, oh.
This is my Andy impression. Okay.
Honey, okay, we know.
Okay. And yeah, their reactions were golden.
Yeah, they were very, very
They were
funny.
so entertaining.
Yeah,
Caroline is like,
It's a very close race. I mean, like, to be honest, like, we all thought it was Teeny. I was like, oh my god, Sam, you should have practiced making fire. But he just, like, shot up, you know, and, like, his flame just cut it, like, straight away.
And then he gets up and he's like, in your face, I'm a real man. Real dick energy.
Oh.
It just felt like, this is what you get. I'm a real boy. And it just felt like such an F. Oh, I didn't like this moment. No, I did.
No.
But
I
just
think
for him
Sam
to-
had,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was just more because I think for Teeny, it wasn't just fire.
It wasn't just fire.
It
This was
was-
about identity. This was whoever gets to make this gets to be a real boy kind of thing. You know what I mean? Oh,
I know.
Is that mean? But I just felt like she wanted to
Yeah.
beat him so bad
Yeah.
as an identity marker.
Yeah.
Like I want to be the boy to move tables. And so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
to move desks. Yeah, which I didn't even know was a thing.
It wasn't a thing, but you know, it's interesting. And God bless her, she's so sweet.
Yeah, she's really
But
sweet, you know.
she didn't get this moment, and
Yeah, I know, and she said like, "Oh my god, this is just gonna haunt me forever," and I'm like, "Oh,
It
hopefully
won't.
not." Like,
You'll
you
get
know,
over
sweetie,
it
I
in a
hope you
day.
get over it. You know, I know.
did you ever dream of moving desks? I did not.
No, never. I didn't know it was a thing. I mean,
But there you go.
But I have lots of things to move in the
Yeah.
house, which you know, I'm hoping that will be moved one day by someone I know.
Let me just get my scarf over my neck.
Hey, stop trying to change the subject.
What do you think of Teeny's game now that Teeny's gone? Okay, let's draw an underline under Teeny's game. What do we
Yeah.
think of Teeny's game?
I don't know if I would really call it a game. I think because sorry. So I think Teeny's been herself.
Yeah.
I think I have. So for me, a game would be like where you actually
Have
maybe
moves and-
like have moves or want to like plot against people, know what's going on. So I think in this case, I felt like it was more about maybe Teeny just trying to come to terms with who she is.
Yeah.
She's been very expressive about it, and I think she, like she said, she played her like she was just herself. you know, and maybe you think when you're watching it, you think, oh, I'm going to come in and make moves, but sometimes that's just not what happens.
I think her storyline is a different one.
It's a different one.
It's not about how well she played the game. It's about a person coming to terms with her identity and expressing that confidently on the island. And I think that's more profound and more important than the actual game itself.
Yeah,
He's a young person who has become maybe a butterfly to herself.
Yeah.
As she said, she had sidekick energy. Now she's main character energy. So bless you, Teeny.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yeah.
Maybe Survivor, she didn't play what you would call a great game because she, as we said, she was behind a lot of the moves, as in late to it, recognizing it.
And I think she just had a lot of stuff going on, and that really hampered her playing it. But who knows, maybe in like 5 years, like, you know, when she comes back, you know, like gain a little bit more experience, she can actually maybe, you know, I think she'll actually be really good because like just psychologically, I think she'll be like very mature.
It'd be interesting to see her in a few years,
Yeah.
So, and now we get to the iconic final breakfast, right? The next day, I guess.
Yeah, the next day. So it's Sam, Sue, and Rachel.
Yeah. What these locals must think, coming on a boat just to bring a table and coconut, they must just think, what crazy Westerners, you know? What are they doing on this island? And so they have a bacon and egg sandwich, and they're basically working through the jury, reminiscing about all the players.
Yeah.
And
that was a nice moment, I think. Yeah, it was nice to like recap a little bit about like all the players.
Yeah. So
I mean, Sam had his first watermelon. He didn't
Sam
really
finally tries watermelon.
Yeah, he
Not
didn't
a
really
fan.
like it. Yeah.
What is wrong with you? Watermelon is delicious. Are you crazy? There's nothing wrong with watermelon. There's nothing bad to say about watermelon. Okay, we see Sue sort of like quite satisfied with her game, and she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to tell people what I did, but I'm just not feeling it, to be honest. I just don't see what she's done."
Yeah.
So, but good for her. And then we get to the final tribal
counter. Okay, let's talk about the jury. Should we talk about like the outfits?
Oh, clearly sold. Okay, who wins jury drip fit contest for you?
Soul. Yeah, I think that has just surprised me the most. Who knew that he was like a vest, you know, and like a tight pants kind of guy.
And the blue nails, like
and all those rings. Oh my god,
rings.
yeah.
He's a flamboyant peacock, isn't he? Wow. How about the ladies? Who dressed well out of the ladies?
Actually, I really like what Genevieve was wearing. I think she looked just super elegant, you know, like a little boho, you know, like
Sierra always looks good too.
Sierra always looks good. And then should we talk about like
Teeny, yes. Well, Teeny looks like she wore the same thing that she was wearing the day before. She just threw that polo in the wash and then just wore it the same next day. So I'm used to seeing them glam up and glow up the next day. And Teeny was just like, nah, polos. I'm all about the polos, man. What do you want from me?
I know.
What do you want from me?
Okay, so going to the jury. So if you are in a jury, what would you look for in a winner?
Okay. I would look for, and this is why I was critical of Sue's game, I would look for intentionality, and I know that word gets used a lot, but whether you play a social, quiet game, whether you play a game with lots of moves, whether you play a game that's intentionally physical and immunity challenge based, I want to see intentionality behind it, as in I meant to do it. You know, I was forced into doing this. I did it because I wanted to do it. I did it because I meant to do it. This wasn't an accident. I didn't just stumble here like maybe I felt like Sue did. I'm sorry, I'm going to be critical of Sue's game, okay? I want to see real moves, real intentionality, and real purpose and agency in their game. Like
Operation Italy.
Like Operation Italy.
Yeah.
I want to see agency, you know? I want to see players really making moves, getting rid of players, not just sliding by, coasting by. And that's what I would be looking for. Not just the players that have made the moves, but the players that can explain those moves.
Yeah.
So articulate it well. I want to see the steps you made. Okay, so if you wanted to get out a player, how did you set it up? What steps did you make? Did you befriend that player? Did you then know that you needed to get an idol to weaken that player before you could get them out? I want to see the steps that you made to break it down and the thinking behind it. It's like maths problems in high school. Like, you know, when they would do those massive maths problems and you can just write the answer down.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the right answer. But in order to get the full marks, you need to show us how you got there. You know, you need to show us the division, the multiplication, the process of thinking that got you there to get the full marks. And that's what I would like to see in a final jury. The thinking of intentionality. And so I think that's what juries tend to look for now in Survivor. That players are aware and self-aware of their moves and that they are playing high-level gameplay.
At least, like, say, hey, if something does happen like, you know, or like by chance, you know, you can find a way to own your move. Because, like, we know there's a lot of things that go by chance that you're not aware of. But after that, how are you going to, like, weave a story around it? Yeah. Because that's what people connect with.
And so Gabe gets the first question, right? And he says, how will your game be remembered, right? And Rachel, I think, gave a bit of a stinky fart answer where everyone just went, right? And they didn't like the taste of it because these are legacy players that really like the history of the game.
The super fans.
And they appreciate big moves and history of the game.
Yeah, so I think what Rachel says was, okay, I think she was like the underdog becoming like a top dog, but she didn't really think about legacy or maybe thought that it was important kind of thing, you know, which I think... I mean, we get that. Like, maybe coming into the game, you didn't feel that. But you just cannot present that kind of an argument if you want the jury on your side.
Because that's exactly what I mean by articulating intentionality. Because Sam says, no, I wanted to be remembered for a historically good game.
And that was a powerful and strong argument. Yeah.
And you saw them all go, that's the answer I like.
Yeah, because, like, that's what you want as a jury. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear someone who's like,
worthy.
Hey, worthy, you know. And so even though I think Rachel definitely has a lot more achievements on her belt, but she just didn't articulate that well enough.
And that was my first impression that, Sam could win this. Like, there's a path here. If he speaks well in this final jury, he might actually win a couple of votes.
Yeah, but remember also, he is like an esports commentator, so he's very used to speaking.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably got a little bit more of like that bro talk, you know, competitive spirit, you know. So I think he would actually do probably better in a debate.
I was surprised.
Rachel.
And that's why you don't want to go up against Genevieve in the final. And we'll talk about our dream final three later on.
Final three. Okay.
But,
great.
And then we see Sue, and Sue says...
yes.
Okay, Sue... Sue tells her age and goes, hey guys, I'm really 59.
And Sam does this like...
And then she says, and my game has been based on honesty and truthfulness. And I hope you guys appreciate that. By the way, I've been lying about my age, my name, my job this whole time. And my game was based on honesty.
It's a bit ironic.
Oh, Sue. This wasn't the way to play it, okay? I think had Sue said, I'm 59... My game was based on loyalty and deception, on minimizing my threat, on lying about my age so that I could fit in more socially with you guys, in, you know, making it like she meant to do all this.
Yeah. So like that. Okay, she it's like. As in, like, she had to lie about her age rather than be like... I think she just didn't give a good enough reason because it was more like, I'm 59 actually, and then, like, my game is based on... So there wasn't, like, a link between the 2 points that just kind of made it... I guess that made it flow together?
Yes. She had the question and she had the answer. She didn't have the equation.
Yeah.
That
the
connected
link.
it, right?
Yeah. Or at least to make it make sense, because otherwise it just seems like 2 opposing statements.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
And then Caroline asks, what was your biggest mistake? And again, Sam bangs this out of the park with an amazing answer.
Oh, it's very good,
Yeah, he says, I didn't tie up my loose ends and I didn't manage Andy well enough. I just threw his name out there. That is smart jury work. When you can reference the players in the jury, acknowledge your mistakes.
Yeah.
And also give them a wink to say, I'm sorry in a way.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing that I've actually really liked Sam's game towards the end, was how he was able to like mend his relationship with Andy. Because I'm sure it would not have been nice. He could have just ignored it, you know, and be like, well, that's just what happens. But he was actually enough aware to be like, hey, you know, I promised Andy I'll take him on the reward. It means a lot to him. You can tell, obviously. And then, like, you know, to the jury to, like, you know, like buy back his good graces. You know, and to also to apologize in front of people is really hard.
Yeah, good move, Sam.
It was really good move.
I just felt the tide of Sam's momentum in this jury was swinging. Going into this, I felt like their games, Rachel like 8 out of 10, Sue 2 out of 10, Sam, 6 maybe.
Yeah.
So I felt like Rachel had a massive lead.
Yeah, she had a massive lead.
But after this, I was like, wow, Sam. I was running around the room going, Sam can do this. He's doing what he needs to do. He's saying all the right things.
Yeah.
He shows an awareness, an openness of his game.
He was very good with the stats as well. I think when he said, Rachel had the
worst voting record of those 3?
And then I think whereas he actually voted correctly on every count.
He did.
Yeah, so that was a very good. So maybe that comes from his esports, because they're very
he killed
concerned
it
with
on this answer.
statistics.
Okay, so he says, because they talked about, how do you reconcile your idols, Rachel, and all that, yet you have the worst voting record. Okay, so I'm going to go through this. I looked this up, okay. Rachel's record of the 3 was the worst, but by no means was it bad.
No,
okay?
I think he made it seem like she didn't vote correctly at all because I wasn't keeping note. I'm not a super fan.
Of the remaining 9 votes, she voted correctly 7 times.
Yeah, which is a lot. That's still a majority.
She was only wrong on Annika, who was an alliance member, and Operation Italy when Caroline went home. They were the only 2 times she voted incorrectly. So, a strong record.
Yeah.
Okay. Sue, of the 10 votes that she cast, was correct 7 times. So, still a positive win record.
Yeah.
Wrong for Rome, Gabe, and Caroline.
Yeah.
2 of the 3 are her alliance members.
Yeah, alliance members.
Sam, a perfect 8 for 8, which is impressive. So, every time Sam voted, that person went home. I thought this was one of his strongest points and his best moment in his pitch, where he said, he killed this answer, where he said, I've been the most targeted, I've received the most votes, I've gotten every single vote right, perfect voting record. Sam, this was great stuff.
Yeah, and you can kind of actually see Rachel starting to sweat a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was actually really riveting, I think, because you think that there is a clear winner, and then he just comes back. I mean, he makes fire, first of all, and then, and he has this really strong argument. He can be very, very persuasive.
He did great. And then he told a really good story about the 6-year-old him watching it with his parents.
Did he kind of copy that from Caroline? Because Caroline watched it from 5, I don't know.
Did this whole cast grow up watching it as 5-year-olds, dreaming of it with their parents?
Which parent is letting their kid watch Survivor?
Oh man, these guys are just something else. This is a super fan cast. They all have, didn't you guys dream of being astronauts or being athletes or something? Everybody dreams of being Survivor these days.
I think I dreamt of being a teacher, but I don't know if I ever dreamt of being a Survivor.
I dreamt of being Captain America. I was an idiot. Okay, so Sam tells a really good story.
Yeah.
He frames it so well. He's able to conjure emotion. And even Rachel, in some things I've read in the past day or 2, said, I thought Sam had got me here. Which is,
I think maybe, just Rachel as in her character, she's someone who just makes people feel very comfortable. She probably isn't, say, as confrontational as Sam, because we've seen Sam. I think sometimes maybe there's certain qualities of his that might rub people the wrong way. Right. Whereas Rachel, I think is just easy, quite chill to get along with, but that does not necessarily make her good at presenting arguments. Yeah.
But it goes to show how good her game was and how good her relationships with the jury. You saw, as they were voting and writing down the votes, how much they love her. The other players genuinely love her. Before we get to that though, Sue says, and I quote, I beat all your asses.
And I would have outlasted Kyle and Andy on the bucket challenge. Yeah, okay.
Woo!
So, I
kick this off?
Oh, yeah. So I think I got a little bit triggered there. I don't even know why, but there was a big curious, what the hell just happened? Why would you just say that? Firstly, to the people who are actually you're trying to win votes from. And secondly, also, I don't know if that's actually true.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Because she shows a lack of understanding. You finished later on in the game as them, but every single player on that jury did more with their time. And is more likely to be remembered, to be re-invited.
Say Gabe, he even though he went very early, he would probably be
he did more with his time. So Sue, yeah, you outlasted them, but you did not outplay them.
It wasn't outwitting. I think so.
wasn't
Okay, there's
outwitting.
Outlast, there's Outwit, and there is
Outplay.
Outplay. Okay, so she outlasted.
Yes.
But she did not outwit,
well
nor did
put.
she outplay.
Outstanding, honey.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's why you married me.
That was outstanding. And so I think, and then also like to say, I beat all your asses to the people who are about to vote for you.
And for
Is
me,
that
I think
good?
no, it's not good. I mean, like, you know, if you are on the jury and you know someone's trying to like woo, like, you know, wine and dine you, you know.
Not Sue.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's like, you know, she didn't get
changing my vote.
Yeah, she did not get a single vote. And also, I didn't like the fact that she said she would have outlasted Kyle and Andy because firstly, Kyle is very, very good. Like, I think like Sue, like, even if you were the same age as Kyle, I think there's a lot of like flaws in a game where, okay, like Kyle, he's very good at balancing, he's accurate, you know, his agility. I don't know if Sue maybe necessarily has. I think she's very good at balancing and endurance.
Besides that, it's just not the right time.
It's not the right thing to
squabble.
do. Yeah.
Okay, it's like a lawyer appealing to the jury and saying, "By the way, I make more money than all of you people. Suck it."
Yeah,
So
it's a
I'm
very
right.
cheap argument. Like, it's a very cheap thing, I think, to
You
say.
are trying to win their vote,
Yeah.
not diminish their ego or make them feel bad about not making. Like, so you're trying to sell yourself, not put them down.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It was
Which
the wrong
I think
way.
is really funny because she's always felt like, you know, maybe people were like putting her down or something, and then now she does the same thing to other people. Well,
Man,
yeah.
cringe. I thought, Sue, had you said you're an amazing physical beast, Kyle.
I'm honored to
I'm
have like been
honoured
able to like, you know,
go up
share the
against
stage with you.
Just to hang with you was amazing. Physical challenges. I never thought I'd be a physical challenge. Please vote for me.
I think she got
That's
triggered
it.
by the Tweedledee and Tweedledum thing.
But she brought it up, you know, and I felt like there's just a lot to her game that wasn't considered, you know, and I think this was brought into highlight during her pitch because she hadn't considered those things.
Yeah, and I think it just maybe made her appear insecure.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like when you're trying to like strong arm someone into, you know, like agreeing with you, you know, but it just comes across as, you know, and Teeny, well, at least she is like, you know, self-aware enough to like understand it's her projection.
Okay, so after that, the next note I've got is Sam's game. What do we think of Sam's game overall? So we just talked about Sue's game. What do we think of Sam's game?
I think it actually has been quite good. I think considering that he has been at the bottom for quite a lot of, he didn't like, you know, he didn't have any advantages. He didn't have any, you know, he didn't find any idol. You know, he's had to get by ever since like Sierra's the first one that had got voted off. That's his number one. So he's been alone for a lot of times. So I think he's actually played quite a good game. I think he could have won it if he had won maybe at least one immunity challenge, maybe.
Exactly.
Or at two. Well, I think two would have been good. Or maybe if he had, you know, used an idol correctly. What is that? An immunity correctly at tribal council. And maybe if he made one more move.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think overall he's played quite a good game.
Overall, a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Yeah. As good as it could have. It's just that maybe his biggest moves were in collaboration with Andy and Genevieve. And so they maybe overshadowed his moves. And then his moves were with Sierra. Sierra maybe overshadowed those moves. So maybe he needed to send the message out earlier that, you know, I'm the power behind those guys. But then again, he was also trying to diminish his threat level, which is hard when you're a big dude and
yeah. But also, like, don't forget, he's only 24. Rachel's like 34. There's a 10-year age gap between them. It's a huge leap in terms of like maturity, you know, like life experience, you know, yeah.
So were you satisfied with the jury and their questions?
I would have liked, no, not really. I think I would have liked them to be a bit tougher. Like, say, when there was the part when I think Caroline had asked, what's your biggest mistake? And I think Sue had said, okay, Andy, you've lied to me 3 times.
Yeah.
And especially that time when you blindsided Caroline, like, you know, I was, you know, like Richard. I would have liked Andy to come back with we've come back and be like, well, in that case, why didn't you use your idol to save Caroline?
Yes.
Because, like, you know, like Genevieve wasn't going to play it.
Yeah.
So did you not think that something was wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, I felt there was they could have been harder.
I think they could have been harder.
I would have liked, say, for example, tell me your best move that you did without anyone else.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That would have
That's
been
always a good question. Because, then I feel like Sue has nothing. She says, "Oh, I played my idol, but I didn't."
Yeah, that was kind of like a nothing.
Rachel has quite a lot to say, and Sam, I'd be interested to see how he can own Operation Italy when his best move was shared with two other people.
It was Andy's suggestion.
It was Andy's
actually.
suggestion.
Okay, yeah, and another one that so that's a good thing there. So one thing I would have liked maybe Soul would be like, okay, Rachel, I helped you out with that advantage. I got you out of being evicted from Tribal Council by giving you that advantage. And now I feel very hard done by the fact that you didn't tell me about my blind side. You didn't help me.
And you've been talking about loyalty.
Yeah, why should why should you get my vote? I think that would have been a great question.
Yeah, especially when you have been banging on about loyalty.
Yeah.
And how only Sue has been loyal to you and no one has been as loyal to you as you have been to them.
Yeah.
That's BS because I saved you.
Yeah.
I looked out for you. And then when it came to it, you burned me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would have been a great question.
I wanted to see more of that.
Yeah.
More venom, more resentment, more drama. Okay? I want to see more resentment. Like, I should be there. Tell me why you should be there instead of me.
Yeah. Or like, why did you betray me that way? Which I think would have... Yeah, really brought on a lot more drama, to the show. Rather than like all these, I guess, like all these journey, advantages, beware advantages. I think that's actually like real human drama.
Yeah. Rate their final tribals. I've got mine. Can I go first?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. Sue, 2 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Nothing burger. Rachel, 6 out of 10. Quarter pounder with cheese. Sam, 9 out of 10.
So you actually really went for Sam.
Just for the final tribals.
Okay, yeah.
I thought he spoke better at the final tribals, but Rachel played such a better overall game.
Yeah.
That I still would have given my vote to Rachel.
Yeah, I think so.
But in terms of speaking at the final tribal, Sam was amazing.
He blew it out of the park for me. Yeah,
as good as you can get from the game that he had. Who would you have voted for? Out of those
based on the final tribal. Based on everything. I think I would have still voted for Rachel.
Yeah.
But I think Sam would have made a very compelling argument. I think Sue, I would have just been like, if I was going to vote for you in the beginning, I would not vote for you now because I would change my vote after what you just said about you beating our asses.
How about, let's go hypothetical. Andy... let's look at a multiverse, an alternate timeline.
So like your final dream tree?
Yeah, in an alternate Earth multiverse somewhere, right? Andy versus Genevieve versus Rachel.
Okay, so that's your final dream.
That's my final dream.
Which is my final dream.
Okay, so how do you think that looks?
Oh, okay, so that's an interesting thing because Rachel would have won all these immunities, but I actually feel like Andy, just because of Operation Italy, that just had so much agency. It actually involved like getting player support. Like he got Genevieve and Sam's support. He blindsided Caroline.
Yeah.
I think he actually maybe could have won. And also he had this very great comeback from the beginning. He actually is scrappy. And he can actually say hey, I had a meltdown in the beginning. That's the worst start ever in all of Survivor history.
Yeah.
He came back and became a top dog, and he did that without actually winning any immunity challenges.
Useless.
Yeah.
Immunity challenge, and I think that's a credit to him. He can actually say, I couldn't find an egg in an egg basket on an Easter egg challenge. They were everywhere, all around me. I could not find Waldo. I suck at it, and yet I'm still here. Had he survived to the final... But that's why he couldn't survive until the end at the same time. Okay, just hypothetical.
But it's just hypothetical, because I think, Andy, with his agency and no immunities, is actually a better vote than Rachel with her immunities, but no agency.
Wow. And how about Genevieve? Okay, so
Genevieve would be probably, yes. I would actually... Okay, so my ranking would probably be maybe Andy, Genevieve, then Rachel, I think.
Really? Wow. I would go Andy, Rachel, then Genevieve.
Okay.
I think it's very close between the two ladies.
I think so.
I really liked Genevieve's blind side on Soul, but then it made her a target, and the way she diminished herself, and then she made the fake idol with Operation Italy and all
and
that.
she continued on with the fake
continued on with that
idol. You know,
story.
like that's hard. Yeah.
That protected her for a vote or two.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved that final 3. I think it would have gone maybe.
And she still has one immunity, which is really good.
Yeah, that's good. Hey.
Yeah.
I think it goes maybe 4 votes Andy, 2 votes Rachel, 2 votes Genevieve. It's very tight. Where 1 vote can just swing the entire the entire voting block of that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, that's our dream tree, like Andy, Genevieve, and Rachel. I mean, you let us know who you think are your dream 3. I mean, I'll be curious to know more about it.
But congratulations to Rachel.
Yeah, congratulations.
Woo!
Like, she did amazing. I mean, like
amazing.
she says, I think, she's achieved a lot in her life, but she always feels like she doesn't own it. And I think maybe this being on Survivor is a great chance for her, to really own her moves.
She's a millionaire now.
Yeah, she is, 4-time champion of the immunity challenges. It's a very, very rare sector to be in. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
How weird was it, right? Okay, then they wrap it up, and suddenly we have production just walking through the set.
So let 20 people just come on set with the
weird?
background. Yeah.
That was awkward, man. I felt like they should have just, cut to commercial, and then we come back and everyone is situated neatly and nicely, rather than just people just walking through the set. Hey Dave, you gonna light that fire? Okay, cool, yeah, you got that? You need a hand with that? Just walking past Jeff, pushing him out. It was just awkward.
Yeah.
I just felt like, have they not thought about this? Did they want it to look behind the scenes-ish?
I think maybe they wanted it to seem more like, okay, this is how the set looks. But I feel like you could have done that in a TikTok or a story.
Yeah,
but
awkward.
again, it's I think
so
maybe,
weird.
I don't know. Well, okay, so firstly, I don't know if this is something that happens every tribal where everyone just rushes onto set, so maybe it's a new thing, maybe it's not a new thing. But it's a bit like that beginning of the last 2 episodes where Jeff introduces
the camera,
where I feel like maybe he wants to try something different, give the show a new angle, something to talk about, and maybe something to talk about, even if it's bad, is a good thing because it raises awareness.
It a bit.
Yeah, but I feel like the show will actually be better without it. Okay, so how do we feel about? So is there anything you want to talk about, for the after show or the the?
Well, we see season 48 preview. And it looks like season 47 preview. Okay, one thing I have to say about the casting of this show. Okay, I feel like the show has become, and to its credit, it's become very diverse. But it's become so diverse that it has become narrow in its casting. Because what we're seeing is a lot of urban professionals, minorities. And it just has that same kind of flavor each season now. We're not getting as diverse a look as we think. Okay, everybody there is a professional, urban, highly educated super fan. High income. They're from the coasts like San Francisco, Washington, New York, LA. They are media savvy. They often work in the media industries or entertainment. And the exception this year was Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle kind of stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, and I just feel like this next season 48 cast looks like more of the same. In Australia, we're more accustomed to themes, like how America used to be, like Bronze v Brain, Blood v Water, and American Survivor has just cast along these diverse lines of late, and it ironically has made it less dynamic, if I may say.
Yeah, because I think I think the show has always had this challenge aspect of the obstacle courses. And okay, if you don't have them, then that's okay because everyone's able to articulate themselves very well. But when you have the obstacle courses, I feel like that's where it the cast lets down the show because you want to see some people really perform well.
You want to see some athleticism.
You want to see some it's like going to the Olympics and not seeing any sports people.
I'm just seeing a bunch of graphic designers play sports.
Not to say that we know how to design graphic and but still I think it's just I think they have these beautiful obstacle courses, but no one is like getting through them in a very
when you see Rome saying I got this, and then he looks like he's about to drown. Yeah, it leaves the athleticism a little bit to be desired. But okay, we're not going to pick on that anymore. But season 48, we'll see. I'm looking most forward to Australian Survivor and Australia v World. I can't wait for that.
Oh, that would be very interesting. Like, how do you think the format of that show will be? Do you think it'll be like so it'll be probably in the Australian format, rather than like the US format? Okay, so I'm gonna say, first time watching an entire season of the US Survivor. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought, and I think the main thing for me has been maybe Andy's appearance in the first episode. Like, what he went through was just really dramatic, and it was just very authentic. I still don't like the advantages. Yeah. I don't like the shot in the darks. Yeah. So I'm probably not going to change my stance on it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I would have liked seeing like the family members come on towards the end, just because I think it's a great emotive moment. But other than that, I've actually really enjoyed it, and I actually look forward to, being a US Survivor fan. Yeah. Just not a super fan.
I agree. I've got nothing left to add to that. I think, I agree with that 100%. But I enjoyed the season so much. And then now I guess we go into Christmas and we have a little bit of a break until... What we're going to do next is, I think, the Traitors US Season 3. Okay. Which is going to be fun, but that's not until the new year. And then we're going to roll right into Survivor Brains v Brawn 2. And Australia versus World Survivor. So I hope you guys will join us for that next year. Yeah. Have a great holidays.
We've actually safe. Really enjoyed recording this for you.
Be safe and have a happy holidays. Yeah. And enjoy your families. Don't spend it watching reality TV. Like, live a life.
Get a life.
Get a freaking life. What are you doing listening to us? Like, who are you people? Like, I'm about to go out with this vest.
That's his wedding vest, actually. He wore that for the wedding with a jacket.
I'm still sweating with this thing. It's insane, Sol. Yeah. Sol, how does this work? Oh, it's so hot and cold at once.
Okay, honey. Okay, guys, so this is a wrap up, and I want to just say thank you so much for listening to the show. This is the Recreate Reality Podcast by Michael and Teresa. And you can find us on Recreate on TikTok and Instagram. That's WRECK.CREATE, where you can watch funny short clips of what we've talked about. If you like what you hear, be sure to like and subscribe to our pod. It really helps us a big deal. We are extremely grateful for any support you give. So it's the end of the year. We'll be back next year with the next season of Survivor, with the next season of Traitors. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, guys. Thank you. Have a good holidays. Merry Christmas.